I've made it. I've been doing a making a presentation all day.
Right.
So I'll start with that, and we can, because I'm recording it, I can send out a video if they would like. So
did you have any others initially respond?
Yeah, there was first. Yeah, about 40.
Oh, okay.
So, but anyway, we can. I just wonder whether I'll be able to see if they come in the to admit.
I think you will. Have you done a Zoom before?
Yeah. But,
yeah.
Oh, there's someone. Yeah, so it does show up, so that's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, there we go. I'll wait till she comes in and then I'll start. No, I'll come ticking fast now.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Sorry. I'll just give it another minute or two and then.
You're fine.
Well, you've helped me get over my nerves anyway, so that's good.
That's fine. Oh, a little bit of nerves is good.
Oh yeah, as long as
it's wonderful that we've got this kind of technology to be able to connect like this, you know.
Absolutely, and it's what kept people going, like families going, and us going. Well, we couldn't see family in Melbourne for the last couple of years, so it's been really good. I just wonder, is everybody here?
Well, it says you've got 6.
Okay. Well, I'll begin, and thank you everyone for coming. I call this "How to Stand in Your Power in Difficult Times." Could also be called "How to Stand in Your Truth in Difficult Times." To me, it's the same thing. Power and truth. I think in the last couple of years has shown us that it's called into question who we really feel we are, and what we actually stand for. And well, here, as it says there, my name's Vicky O'Connor. I live in East Gippsland, and over the last few years, my main I've been dabbling in daytime jobs, but I created a women's empowerment business that I haven't really taken terribly far, and it's been sitting on the back burner for quite some time. But my main passion in it is empowering women to take their place in the world with confidence. And I now feel I actually had a really strong sort of download the other day to do this for not just women, but for men as well, to stand in their power despite the intense opposition and segregation that I think probably a lot of you have been feeling, which is why you were here. I've found it the last couple of years, quite intense and hard to navigate, because obviously none of us have done this before. And just very recently, I lost quite a few friends. I was not allowed, or told I wasn't welcome at our Christmas party of friends of 15 years because I was unvaxxed, and not because I'd had Rona, but because I was unvaxxed. And another lady wouldn't go to dinner because I was going, and it really brought into sharp focus what I'm willing to stand for, and what my beliefs, my true beliefs are, and what I will not fight for. I don't like the word fight for, but what I'm willing to defend about how I feel and my truth. And it really, really hurt. But I know in my heart that what I'm doing for me is absolutely the right thing for me. I feel it in my bones. And despite what the outside pressure is and what's thrown at me, I am not backing down. And it doesn't matter what, this is not about vax status and things, but that's my where I stand on it. But even if people have had the vax, lost their job, whatever it is, what is that right for you is right for you. Doesn't matter what anybody else in the world tells you. And as I said, it says that I know in every being, with every bit of the fibre in my being, I know that what I'm doing and my stance is right for me. Now, I can't tell you in this session how to pay your bills or your mortgage, find a job if you've been mandated out of one, or the nitty-gritty of life. I can't tell you that because I'm still figuring that out for myself. As I said, I'd lost a job in disabilities, loved it, was great, but it's gone. And there's a real huge element, I mentioned it here, but there's an element of grief that we will all be facing, because what we knew our lives to be is no more at the moment. Does mean elements of it will come back, it won't come back, but at the moment there's friends, family, jobs, situations that we knew to be our reality that just aren't there anymore. And none of us know when this shit show is going to, how it's going to pan out or when it will ever end. So we need to find a way to come to terms with it. And all we can do is stick to what we fundamentally know is right and true for us. And as you would probably know, I'm not allowed into restaurants, cafes and venues. And if you're in Victoria, as I am, you wouldn't have been, if that's where you are. I wasn't allowed into retail shops either. It's quite confronting and alarming, but that's on them and not me. I don't care to give my money to anyone if they're participating in segregation. That's their choice, that's on them. I'm owning my choice to not go there and to stand in my truth. And if I can't go out for tea, so be it. I can't go out for tea because I'm standing for what I believe. And I will always only do what I know in my heart is right for me. And I trust that I will always be supported by Source, whatever you want to make, whatever Source is to you. I know that I will always be supported. And that's sort of partly fundamentally the gist of this, that by standing in our truth, I truly believe we will be supported in that, because we are saying I'm worth more than whatever the outside world throws at me. Now, who are you? You don't need permission from anyone else, your partner, family, government, society, anybody, to do what is right for you. You know that what is currently happening in the outside world is far bigger than many of us can imagine. You know that we're not being told the truth by the media outlets, and whatever you take is on what is happening. I think that a lot of people can see that it's not as it appears. And there's a lot of questions that people have that need to be answered. And you know that things are definitely not right, and you're not willing to participate in a world where human rights are overridden by government. Your inner guidance, inner voice, intuition is screaming at you to listen to it and pay attention. And that comes across as in your body with uncomfortable feelings that regularly tells you when things are not right for you. That's intuition. So however you're feeling in this situation is not wrong. Whatever or however you are feeling about this current situation is exactly right for you. And it's not by accident that you feel this way in your stance. I don't mean the confusion and anxiety and the negative kind of feelings. How you feel about standing in your truth and your power, that is not by accident. It's your higher self's way of protecting you and keeping you on the right path. That is exactly right for you. your intuition, higher self, whatever you want to call it, is the information it is giving you to not back down, stand in your truth, fight for what you feel is right, is keeping you on the right path, keeping you safe. And it is not by accident. It is a deep-seated intuition that is coming to you, and it is exactly right for you. What you know and feel deep inside is coming from a high dimensional perspective. Doesn't matter what you want to call it, God, source, intuition, inner guidance, hunches, etc. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you listen to it and trust it with all your might. Those uncomfortable feelings your body shows you is your inner guidance kicking in, and it will never let you down. So if you know in your, this is, that's a picture of obviously intuition, but pardon me, and it will never let you down. It is showing you that your truth is just for you, and it's right for you. And I think in Hoodies Helpers, I think I presume a lot of you have come from, there's a lot of people putting posts up saying, I'm alone, I feel alone, I don't feel supported. That conversely, there's a lot of people saying there are, but we're not alone in our stance of speaking our truth and being in our power. We're not alone. There's whatever the media and are telling us, there's millions, if not billions, of like-minded people like us around the world that are supporting one another, speaking our truth, not going with the status quo and being okay with people being treated poorly or our rights being eroded. There's millions, if I think billions of us. And so many of us know with every fibre of our being that things are definitely not right out there in the world. And by that, we can't all be wrong. We can't all be in these isolated pockets of the world, being the only person who sees that what's going on out there is not right. We can't all be wrong. There's just too many of us now. So we are each standing in our power, quite independent of one another, but we've come together through these groups to help one another and help support and change this world. And when each one of us stands in our truth and or power, it has a flow-on effect to the people around us. Even if we can't see it, it's felt by those around us. Even in the face of immense external pressure, which you would all be feeling, can you take some courage from the enormous groundswell of support networks that are springing, I can't spell springing, up everywhere, i.e. Hoodies Helpers, and there's a number of the groups out there that are stepping up, people being in their power and their truth, saying this is not okay. This is not okay to treat people this way. We need to help and come together and help one another. And being in Victoria, which I presume you are, you would have seen this on the news, and that happened week after week after week. And my daughters actually went to one of these protests on one of their birthdays, actually, and the media said there was about 20,000. My girls said there was hundreds of thousands. And on that particular day, one of the so-called independent reporters had a still camera that did time lapse, and it took an hour and 18 minutes for the crowd to walk past one camera down Burke Street. So that is not an isolated group of, a small group of random people just hating the government. That is a massive groundswell of people saying enough's enough, standing in their truth and not accepting what has been, we've been told that is going on. There's so many people who know it's not right and will stand in their power. And do we have any questions? If you pop something in the chat, I've just realised how I can get it, but pop something in the chat if you do have any questions, if I'm going too fast or it's just doing your head in. Can someone give me a thumbs up if it's making sense or tell me or something? Anyone got any questions?
All good so far.
Good, thank you. Thanks, Lorraine. Now, with the pushback from people in our world, and I've said I've had it, and I would imagine you do. You are having it as well. When you're not complying with the current narrative, you will trigger many, many people. And I've had that, which is the people that didn't want to be at dinner because I was there. My truth triggered them, and they didn't want me to be there. They weren't going to go if I was going to go, and that sort of thing. And my truth triggered them. And it's not so much the non-compliance that they don't like. It's either that they don't like you not obeying the rules, but they feel that they're obliged to follow and will follow to the end, the letter of the law. Or it's not that or they know that they don't have the strength in them to do what you're doing, so we'll make it all your fault. Does that make sense? What's this question? It's definitely a challenge, especially with family and friends sometimes. Exactly, that's the thing. Those people, family and friends, and I've lost a family member who calls me a conspiracy theorist, not to my face, but whatever. He's decided that I'm a threat. He's immunocompromised. I haven't seen him physically, but he's still decided that I'm a threat. And my stance has triggered him because and for even if people don't wear masks and that sort of thing, it's not that they don't like. It's not always that they don't like you, that you're not complying. It's that they don't often have the strength they might not want to do it. I've seen people not check in, they've pretended, and they've done all the appearances of complying, but they're not complying. And when other people see that who are complying, it's not that they're non-compliance that they don't often like, it's that they don't have it in them to say, I'm not doing that, I'm not playing these games, I'm not playing by these rules. It mirrors to them something in them that they can't do, and then they will make it your fault. You're the bad person, you're breaking the rules, you're putting people you're a threat to people, when we can't all have the Rona. It's just ridiculous. But it triggers something in them, and at some level they can feel that you have something that they don't, which is your truth and your power. And that greatly upsets them because they don't know how to access their own. They're often in fear, and they will comply because they don't know any other way or any other way to be. And when they can't put their finger on what it is they don't like about your non-compliance, they will be triggered, and they will often lash out at you, as I'm sure you've had, or seen. And if they can't find that truth and the power within themselves, they surely don't want you to have it. And it'll come out in the next few slides, but it's all energy. They can feel that there's something about you that you're standing in your truth, or you've got an inner knowing that they don't have, and if they can't have it, they don't want you to have it, so they'll often lash out. And how others behave in that way, the lashing out, is never about you. Every person sees their life and their surroundings and how their life pans out through the lenses of their experiences. It's like me with these glasses. You could put trauma, you could put bullying, you could put abuse, or everything that it doesn't even have to be extreme. Just every experience that everyone has in their life forms lenses that we see our life through. And some people's is fabulous and other people's is traumatic. It filters through the glasses of the experiences how they see life. And if someone's lashing out at you for your choices, it's because it's triggered something within them that makes them feel them uncomfortable or fearful, and they can only see that experience or whatever it is that you're triggering in them through the lenses of their fear. And fear is a massively powerful motivator. If they perceive that your power, your strength is a threat to them because they don't have it, they can only see that through the lens of whatever their experiences are. So they will or can lash out at you or treat you badly or excommunicate you, whatever it is, or refuse to be near you because of that fear and because of the lenses that they see life through. And you holding the line for your choices can cause a reaction from others because they can only see it from their point of view. Obviously, we all see our lives from our own point of view, but when you know something is fundamentally wrong, you know it and you feel it in your being, and not everybody can do that, or they can feel it, but they can't always live it or embody it. And if you're embodying it and they can't, they will, you know, excommunicate you, shun you, whatever it is. And it's rather than engage in an argument over who's right or wrong, we just send them love and empathy because they literally don't see it the way we do, and they never will. And it's just adding more tension and stress to the world by doing a backwards and forwards of I'm right, you're wrong. Everyone sees the world their own way, and some people are just never going to, we're never going to agree on some things, and some people just don't want to. They don't want to see what's going on in the world. They just want to be told what to do, shown the way, spoon-fed, and they'll never see it your way. So rather than engaging in backwards and forwards and adding more attention to the world, just send love and empathy. Because I did put it in a comment in a post. When I got over the hurt of being shunned by my friends, I just thought, forgive them for they know not what they do. I'm not a religious person, but that really came to me because their fear clouded everything about their actions. It was that out of 10 people, they didn't want just me to be there. That was me that was ostracised. And their behaviour that wasn't about me. That was about their fear and their inability to confront that fear and find out the real situation. It was just easier to say, no, Vicky, you can't come because you're a threat to us. But that wasn't about me. It hurt me and I took a little while to get over it, but it wasn't about me. It was about them and their fear. And I was just a catalyst for their reaction and how they behaved. That's all it is. It's not about me and it's not about you. How other people behave towards you is always on them. They're triggering, you've triggered them, or you're mirroring something for them. You're bringing up a fear in them. You're a mirror, you're a catalyst. You're not the subject of it. You are showing them something that they, I think lacking is a bit harsh, but something that's, one of their lenses is being triggered and they seeing the wounds are showing. That's what it's what I see it as, that they're just wounded and it's easier to push you away than to deal with their own wounds. And your truth is contagious. I think, and I truly believe, everything is made up of energy. Every single thing, they're just energy vibrating at a different rate, which makes it a solid or not solid, but everything is, that's just basic science. But everything's made of energy, and our bodies are surrounded by energy. I presume you've all heard of, the human aura. We all have one. We all have an energy field that surrounds us. When we move through our day, all day, every day, even when we're sleeping, we've always got an aura around us, an energetic field, which is how we read each other. We sense each other. That's how you know if someone's near you that is dangerous or a threat. Or dogs do it, babies do it more openly than we do, but we still do it every day. We read each other energetically. before anyone's either spoken or acted in any way. We read energy, and every day we come into contact with hundreds of other people's auras if we're out and about. And when we're empowered, if we are standing in our truth, our empowerment and our vibration, which is the energy, helps lift up and empower everyone else you come into contact with. And it's like, you know, we're walking like this past each other, and we feel each, you know, energetically each other's energy frequency. And when our aura is of a positive or higher frequency, which is our truth and our power, this is felt by the people we walk past, stand or sit near, and unbeknownst to them leaves a trace of your higher frequency with them. This is how we raise the vibration of the world around us. This is also how some people become triggered, because they can feel our truth and it rattles them. Can you hear me? Because it just told me my internet's unstable. It may not affect them. Sorry?
I can still hear you.
Thank you. It may not affect them immediately, but it will have an effect at some level over time. So you've probably been in a situation where there's people you just love to be around. They've got a really good vibe about them. It's that sort of thing. And when you stand in your power and your truth, that ripple effect affects those people as well, and it just very subtly lifts other people up. And if you look at it this way, it's our duty to hold on to our strength and power or truth as it serves humanity. And that, by that I mean we raise other people up by being in our knowing, being in our truth, being in our sovereignty, really, and not playing the game. And this is a good example of how we share our light. It says light there, but it's, you know, vibration, our frequency. We just have to be around people and it spreads, and then those people go with other people and it spreads to them, and it just keeps going. And that's how we share our light. And we can either add to the world or detract from it. So in every situation, we have a choice to either add light to the world with our vibration or energy, or detract from it. So standing in our truth and never wavering and acting accordingly adds a much needed higher frequency to the world. I just had a thought then. Anyway, I'll keep going. At those times when you feel defeated, alone and confused, ask yourself, is how I'm feeling, acting or projecting, etc., adding to the light of the world or detracting from it? So how we feel, and I don't mean moods, I don't mean, you know, the everyday thing, our baseline, you know, a happy person, upbeat person, how we feel most of the time. We're either adding to the world by being a, you know, positive, upbeat person, or if we're an angry, sad, you know, violent, you know, a bit of a negative person, we would be detracting from the world, from the vibration of the world, just by being, really. Of course, you know, anger, everyone can feel anger, and anger adds to the negativity of the world. Particularly if we use it as a weapon against people, as in, you know, verbal or abuse, or, you know, just taking our anger out on other people, that detracts from the world. But anger in itself is just a mood, and we just let it flow through. There's nothing wrong with feeling anger, but every choice we make about how we are presenting into the world has a ripple effect that flows out into the wider world and touches everyone and everything. It just keeps going. It doesn't stop. So if you lash out, that ripple effect keeps going, and it touches everything on its way, it detracts from the vibration or the frequency of the world. The same as if you put out love, you help someone, you're kind, it has a flow on ripple effect of positivity that affects in everyone and everything that is around it. So the ripple effect of standing utterly in your truth and power has a massive knock-on effect and literally determines how your life plays out. So if you're wavering about should I, shouldn't I, what is my truth, what is my power, that gut instinct, that your intuition that there is something really fundamentally wrong with what is going on in the world, I'm not participating, or I'm participating in the best way I can. That is, in my opinion, that is your duty to the world and to humanity, by putting out the best and highest vibration that you possibly can, because it has a flow-on effect to everyone. We may not intellectually know it, but we certainly feel it. And I think that's what our job is, to be absolutely and utterly listening to our intuition, acting on it, and not backing down despite what is the massive external pressure that is out there for us to conform to things we may or may not want to do. And even if you are conforming and doing things that you perhaps wouldn't otherwise do, if you truly believe that's the best thing for you, it is the best thing for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If you feel that what you're going to do or you need to do to get through every day is right for you, it is absolutely right for you. What anyone else thinks or what the society or the external world tells you is absolutely irrelevant. If it's right for you, it is right for you. And that's the picture of one of the better pictures I could find of it, the human aura. That you can see how it flows out, how we affect one another with the energy that we put out. So I think it is our responsibility, like standing in our truth, being strong, if it has a huge beneficial effect for everybody. So to go against that, conversely, has a detrimental effect because it flows out to everybody else. And just some home truths that I wrote down. You don't owe anybody anything. So we all have family, partners, probably children, relatives, all work colleagues, all kinds of people in our lives that have certain expectations of us. We've chosen, we play various roles in our lives, and they all think that, this is Vicky to that person, and we all have different faces sort of that we present to in the different roles that we have in the world. We don't owe any of those people anything. Absolutely nothing. Not your parents, not your kids, not your partner. The only person you only owe anything to is you, because you're the only person that you have any control over or ability to influence. You cannot influence anybody else. Nobody has the right to influence you. You don't owe anybody anything, and you do not owe anyone an apology for being you or an explanation of why you are doing what you're doing. How you choose to show up in the world, the choices you make for your life are your business only. And again, if that's something that you 100% on board with, yes, this is for me, this is the way I'm going, or I don't quite really want to do this, but at the moment that's the best thing for me. That is you being in control. That is you being in your power and your truth, because that is your best, this decision that you're making that you think is best for you in that moment. So nobody else has any right to influence you or try and make you do something you don't want to do. And I'm including the government in this. They've got no right to do so much of what they're doing. But if it is right for you, whether 1,000 people agree with you or one person agrees with you, if it feels right to you, it is absolutely right for you. You don't owe anyone else anything. And we don't need to apologise for our beliefs, our truths, preferences, as we do not owe anyone an explanation. We don't have to explain what is right for us, how we feel, what we're going to do to anybody, and despite the pressure or guilt they may try and put on us. We don't owe them. We don't owe anyone anything. Nobody owes us anything either. We have no right to trying to influence people, make them do things we don't want, that they don't want to do. Every single person is a sovereign being and has the right to choose what they do for themselves, for their body, for their life, what they wear, what they think, what they believe. Pardon me. Everyone is a sovereign being who has the right to choose what is exactly right for them. There's no further discussions required. You do not owe an explanation to anybody. That is how you stand in your power, by knowing that it is only you who has to go to bed, put your head on your pillow, and you have to live in your head knowing that you've done what is right for you that day and every day. We don't need to explain what we feel, know to be true to anybody. If we have the most way out beliefs in the world, if it's right, feels right for us, and we know that we know that it's right for us, it is right for you. We don't need to apologize for who we are in any circumstance. How we feel inside comes from a much higher place than that of the person or people trying to influence us. The media, our friends, our family, everyone has an opinion on what's going on at the moment and how everything should be, how everybody should be. If we differ from them, that difference is coming from a much, much higher place. I call it the higher self, our intuition. You call it what you God, source, whatever you want to call it. It is coming from a higher place because it is unique to you, and that is what you trust, is how you feel, what you know in your heart is right for you. Is coming from much, much a higher place than even your ego. Your ego is not part of this. It is coming from a higher place. And that is specific to you. Yeah, yes, there could be heaps of people who have the same feelings, but each of those people's higher self would be telling them that their truth, and that is what you believe, that is what you listen to, and how anyone else says we should feel is irrelevant. It's nothing. How we roll is nothing to do with anybody else. And does anybody on this earth know you better than you know yourself? And I'm tipping that that's a no for everybody. And if not, why do we give others so much power over us? We're brought up to value other people's opinions. As kids, we listen to our parents and think that they're gods when we're young. I need to find out that they're just normal human beings as we grow older. Other people's opinions influence us so much. And we often hand over our power to them, like, what do you think? No, what do you think? What do you think inside? Those people don't always have our best interests at heart. You do. You keep your power and what you know to be true for you and within you, and listen to it from within you. This is a huge thing that I learned a few years ago, that other people's opinions of us are just thoughts that they have about a perspective of us that they have in their head. And an example of that would be, in any given day, you could go down the street, go to the supermarket, and you're not in a fabulous mood. Someone runs over your foot with a trolley, your toe with a trolley, and you get cranky. They'll have an impression in their head that you're a cranky woman in Safeways. Outside Safeways or on the way home, someone could drop something. You bend over and pick it up from them. They think, wow, what a lovely lady she is. And your husband has or your partner has an opinion of you, has a snapshot of you. Your kids have it. Everyone has a perspective, depending on where they stand and how they see you. Everyone has a perspective of who you really are, but it is just a snapshot. Even putting all those snapshots together of the thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of people you meet in your life, none of them has a true picture of who you are. So they are less than qualified to make an assumption and a judgment of who you are and what you should be doing. Even putting all those snapshots together is not going to make a true picture of who you are. Therefore, what they feel we should or shouldn't be doing for ourselves does not matter, because they do not have all the information to make a judgment. You can, even your partner, if you've been married for 50, 60 years, or your siblings, even they have just a perspective of you. Only you know who you are, what you're about, what makes you tick, what makes you light up, what makes you cry. Only you know. So giving your power to other people by letting their opinions influence you does not serve you well. Only you know you, and only you should be listening to your intuition, your inner power and your truth, because you're the authority on you. And how we feel about ourselves comes entirely from external stimuli, i.e. all those people in our lives. From the moment we're born, we're told how and what to think, feel, and what is true or false. And we, as kids, we ultimately believe everything any adult tells us, because they're the authority figures. And as we grow and we mature and we have life experience, we realize that not everything everyone told us is true. We have to discern our truth by how it makes us feel. And I listen to quite a few people on YouTube, some spiritual people, and every single one of them says, this is my truth, take it or leave it. You don't have to believe what I believe. This is what I believe to be true. If it resonates, take it on board. If it doesn't, discard it. And I would say the same to you with this. If some of this makes sense to you and it feels right, go with it. If it doesn't, let it go. It doesn't make any difference to me whether I'm not trying to make you feel or think the same as me. This is what I think standing in your truth, how you stand in your truth and your power is. But if you just think, Vic, you're talking out of your bum, let it go. You take on what, in anything in life, you take on what resonates with you. And by resonate, that's again that frequency. You feel it in your body. If someone's telling you lies, you feel it. If it sits well with you, good. It can be your truth as well. But always listen to how it sits with you and how it makes you feel. That is your truth. And it is entirely up to us and our intuition to decide what we truly want to think, feel, and believe. It is absolutely, ultimately our decision. And this is what a lovely picture I saw. That's everybody's opinions that we carry around with us over a lifetime. And they're not real. They're just not real. They're other people's, they're just thought forms, but we carry so much of what we think other people think of us on our backs. Standing in our truth and our power, we let all that go. We just have, we don't have anything on our backs. It is just us making our decisions. And even if I did a blog on this one, be the 1 in 7 billion, that even if you feel that you are the only one in the world that feels, believes, and thinks like you do, then that is exactly right for you. You could have the most way out, weird, left of center beliefs in the world, but if it is right for you, then it is right for you. There's roughly 7 billion people in this world. We can't all possibly be the same. We can't all possibly think the same. If what you feel deep inside you feels right for you, then then how the other 6 point something or other billion people feel about what you think doesn't matter in the slightest. If it is right for you, it is right for you. Your truth doesn't have to match up with everybody else's. It really doesn't. It is your truth and your truth only. And that's all that matters. So you could be that one person in 7 billion who thinks that koalas have green spots. If it's right for you, it is right for you. Doesn't matter about anybody else. Being true to you is all that matters. Being true to you and adding light to the world, that is what matters. Going against what is true to you detracts from the world. It not only detracts from you, it detracts from the rest of the world. And can you choose you in every situation? And I love this picture. This is an actual picture of a protest that was in the States. Look at that woman. She's got so many people around her that are essentially telling her she's wrong, giving her the finger, all kinds of things. But she's so in her sovereignty, in her power, in her truth. She doesn't give a rat's what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they're doing with that man. Can you be that for yourself? That is standing in your truth, because she obviously feels very strongly about whatever she's got on that placard. And I just love that picture. I think it sums up exactly what I'm trying to say here. That doesn't matter what it, how many people are around her, she knows, and she's in touch with who she is and what she believes, and she's going with it despite all that opposition. And this is I saw this years ago, and I wrote it down in a book that I write, sayings that I've got. Be weird, be different, be eccentric, be ugly. Even when the world rejects you for this, be strong enough to continue being true to yourself if this is what you are. Being true to yourself is so much more powerful than you can imagine. The universe will move around it. The world will conform to your truth. And I know that probably sounds like a bit of a stretch, and it certainly won't happen overnight, but if you stand in absolute conviction of your truth, the world will conform around it and will shape to make your truth real. And is everybody following? Is it, anyone got any questions or comments before I move on? No, okay. If it all gets too much, and some days it can, some days can be good, some days it can be just too much, and we all, with the energies floating around at the moment, and it can really just become overwhelming. And good days and bad days, they're all days. Doesn't matter if you feel bad down one day, you'll come up in another day. Just allow yourself to feel whatever you need to feel. When it all gets too much, do whatever is right for you in that moment. You don't have to be the true part or power on or anything. Just do what is right for you in that moment. Sit with it and it will pass. Eventually, if you need to lie in bed for 3 days, or so be it. It will eventually pass. You won't be there in 3 years. Because of this, so many changes and going on, nobody knows what's happening. Try not to project too far into the future, as there's nothing we can really do about it from where we are currently. We can't influence tomorrow because we're not there yet. We can only deal with what is right in front of us at any given moment. It detracts from the present moment and our well-being in this present moment if we project even if a few hours in the future, if it's that dire. We can't influence tomorrow. We only have now, and if you can make every now moment that you have as peaceful and as pleasant as it can be, then get through the day in 1 minute increments if you have to. If you need to do that, that's perfectly okay. Just do whatever, be gentle with yourself, and get through each day the best way you can. That is what, that was it's the last bit there, but none of us have ever done this before. and we're all getting through each day as best we can. My sister actually told me that, because admittedly I was being very judgmental about somebody when I was in Melbourne, and she said, Vic, we're all just doing getting through each day the best we can, and that is what we need to give to ourselves. Let ourselves live with that, by that mantra, and let other people get through each day the best they can. We don't have the right to judge other people, how they're doing their day, how they're doing their life, because we don't know what they're going through. Conversely, people don't know what we're going through. So if we leave each other the hell alone, we'll all be a lot better off.
Noisy buggers much?
If it gets you through, live only moment to moment. Do whatever is needed for your well-being. And there is no right way or wrong way to do this. There's only your way. So you do your way, what is right for you. I've got a little exercise if you would like to do this with me, to help hand over your worries for a little while. Is that everyone like to do that? See if I can get a picture of everybody while we're... Is that all right? Good. Thanks, Dagmar. We'll do it. So if you'd like to, what am I doing with? Hang on, I'm trying to get rid of this. Anyway, so what am I doing? Oh, sorry, hang on a moment. Oh, don't do this. Anybody know how to make it work?
What are you trying to do?
My screen, my shares just disappeared.
Right.
Hang
No,
on.
I'm not sure.
Hang on. It's that one. I'll stop sharing. I'll start it again. I can see everybody there now. Okay. So just, this is the little exercise to hand over your worries. Okay, so if you'd like to close your eyes. Oh, for goodness sake.
It's on again.
Oh. Sorry, everybody. Joys of technology, and I could say it's technology, but it's actually probably an operator problem more than anything. All right, I might change the thing. So if you'd like to do this, close your eyes for a few moments. Just get comfortable and close your eyes. And take 3 deep breaths. Now visualize 2 enormous hands together in front of you. And if you like to think of them as God, source, your higher self, however you want to picture them, whatever name you want to give them or none, picture them in front of you, pointing towards you. Think of all the things that are concerning you at the moment, with today, that's been happening in the world, all the things that you don't know how to deal with. or you don't want to deal with at the moment. Just think of all your issues that are troubling you. Just see them as little, however you want to pitch them, balls of energy, shapes, whatever. Where do you, when you think of these issues, where do you feel them in your, where do you feel that in your body? Do they, is it spread around? Is it in one spot? Where do you feel it? Just acknowledge those places. Now breathe into each of these places, if there's many, or wherever it is you're feeling it. And on the out breath, see the tension and the problem going out of you and into the hands in front of you. If you can, see it as these things as energy leaving your body and going into the hands, or however it is you picture it. Can you feel your body starting to relax in those spots? Do this for as long as you need. Once you feel that you've released all that is ready to leave, see the energy and the problems being transmuted into gorgeous white and gold light and falling down around you. And allow the white and gold light to fill up the places where the tension and the problems were being stored in your body. Feel yourself becoming lighter and less burdened. And if you feel that you still feel a bit heavy, and you feel that there's still some tension and issues that is being stored that haven't quite come out yet, climb up into the hands and rest there for a while. Just lie there and rest. Let the hands carry your burdens while you have a rest. And you can stay there with that visualization long after you open your eyes. You can carry the vision of you and your burdens being carried in those hands for as long as you need. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to the room. You're welcome, Dagmar. So at the end of the day, all you have control over is you. You can't change others. You can only change how you interact with them or let them affect you. If that means withdrawing or limiting time with others, sometimes even people we love, then that is what has to happen for your well-being. Your well-being is everything, because it either adds to or detracts from the world. Prepare yourself for the fact that you may lose cherished friendships or situations once you become unshakable in your truth. It's just an unfortunate fact. You're welcome, Lorraine. It's just an unfortunate fact that once we change and start to become who we really are, without all the burdens of that, the lady with all the opinions on her back, and who we really truly are, people don't like that we change. They feel threatened by it. You're not who you used to be, but you are actually who you are meant to be when you become unshakable in your truth. So just be prepared. As I said, I've lost friends that I have known and loved for 15 years, and an uncle that I've known obviously my whole life. But I do forgive them because I don't think they really understand what they're playing in. But be prepared that when you stand your ground, in your power and your truth, there may be some collateral damage. I'm not saying there will be, but just be prepared that may happen. And the consequences of going against your truth to keep others happy and keep those people in your life can be huge, not to them, but to you. By playing small, hiding who you really are, dimming your light because of others, can have a massive detrimental effect to who you are and who you truly are. So keep that in mind, that there could be collateral damage, but by not being who you truly are, standing in your power and living your truth, you will be the collateral damage. So my advice would be to set really tight energetic boundaries around yourself. If you can't get away from or limit your time with people who I call energy vampires, if you can't limit your time with them, then that gold white light, put that around you. And I say only unconditional love in and only unconditional love out. So that means that what I put out there is of the highest quality, and what I allow in is of the highest quality, because there are people and situations like shopping centres and things that we are around people. We have to have control of what we let in, and the energies around us. So set tight energetic boundaries, and just remember that people are living in fear at the moment, and they will and can lash out, and it is never about you. It is always about them and their fears and their lenses and their experiences in life, and they are more than likely truth or love in this world. And try as much as you can to always be in love and have compassion and empathy for the ones who are in fear, because it must be hideous to be living so terrified. And I know there are people absolutely terrified at the moment, and it cannot be fun for them. But biggest thing of all is trust your intuition and your instinct always. It will never let you down. Best of luck. So I didn't truly didn't do this. I'm happy to do for free, but I do have programs and courses that I run to empower people to deal with their situations. If it resonates, and I'm not selling to you, if it resonates, there's my email. otherwise, I'd like to thank you for being here. If any of you would like to join maybe in a weekly or fortnightly get together, absolutely no strings, no, for free, just so we can support one another, a supporting situation or a good old venting session. If you'd like to participate in that so that we can help each other get through these really weird times, again, send me an email. And I would like to thank you so much for attending. Oh, look, I can't even spell blessings, blessings. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate that you have turned up, and I'll just quickly look at the chat. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Does anybody have any questions? Do you want to have a discussion, or are you happy to end it here? I'm happy to take advice.
Well, I think you did a wonderful job, Vicky. What you've said resonates with me personally, and it's interesting when you talk about people standing in their truth. And in my family, there are conflicting truths. My husband and I, although we definitely have respect for each other's opinion and truth, they are at opposite ends of the spectrum. So it's you can still live in your truth and be like respectful of each other, and it can work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you're more right than him and he's more right than you. You are, what you are feeling is right for yourselves. And yes, there can be deal breakers in some situations, but if it's not, and you can live respecting one another, that's how it should be. We should all respect that. As I said, this could be there could potentially be 7 billion different versions of the truth out there, but each person's truth is true for them. There's no one's more right than anybody else, and that's just the way it is. We need to be respectful of one another, but also be prepared to call out the absolute crap that is going on at the moment that is just not right. You're welcome, Ange. Thank you for coming. We can all live together quite harmoniously without beating each other around the head with our opinions and our truth. It's our truth, and that's who it needs to matter to. I'll pop the email in the chat. That's right. Yeah. So I'm more than happy to if you want to do a weekly thing and just to support one another. You've probably seen in Hoodies Helpers, there's just so many people that need help, and sometimes all it is a chat, or just someone out there, just an ear, just someone to talk to know that you're not alone. And because I've got a lot of support, and I still feel alone, not feel lonely sometimes, and it's not alone. I'm not alone, but I do feel lonely because I do feel like the village idiot sometimes and the family nut job because of what my truth is, and that's sometimes very hard to deal with on day to day. How I feel does not resonate or does not make sense to so many other people. But as we see, there are a lot of us there are a lot of like-minded people out there, and when we connect, we realise we're not so alone.
Can I just, Vicky, that
sorry.
what I think you did put up in your original post about your background, you know, how you've come to this kind of work. So can you just do a brief kind of background of yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I sort of wondered that myself, but around about 40, the age 47, we were an empty nest. When I became an empty nester, I started getting all I can call them is downloads of content, of blogs, of courses, of, you know, over the last 5 years, but it started a few years ago. The maths doesn't add up. Yes, it does. But I've also always been, looking back, I grew up with a male chauvinist for a father, surrounded by lots of male chauvinist kind of people, men. My mum was and is a fabulous woman, but all the women that the mothers of my friends were always treated poorly, despite the fact that they were capable, marvelous women. And I just sort of always rallied against, not knowing what it was at the time, but I was always angry at how the women in my life were treated, but as a kid not knowing knowing how to focus that anger. So it's sort of, you know, just bits and pieces in my life experiences and things. It all came to be that I just thought, and I've also been in some networking groups where from the CEO down, and I don't mean that isn't a better than or worse than, but every single woman would say, had a self-worth issue. There was not many women that I knew that got out of bed full of confidence and to get on with their lives, because we all fear that we're going to be judged, and the biggest judge is ourselves. But I sort of thought, well, if we could all agree as, women, to stop judging each other, what we would achieve in our lives, what we would be able to do in our lives, knowing that the sisterhood had our back, rather than worrying what the sisterhood was going to say or worrying about how we looked or what we said, just knowing that everybody had, all the women in our lives and had our back, and we all did our own lives our own way. So that sort of led to me creating, I've got a course called Say No Without the Guilt, which goes into, again, the energy of constantly saying yes and being a people pleaser and how that affects you. I've got a website, I've got a lot of blogs written. I have a one-to-one program called Goddess Unearthed, which is a 6-week program that we go through. And I have to say, in the last year, last 2021, I did nothing with it, absolutely nothing. I just didn't have the call to do it. But the other day I was sitting on our porch and I just got, again, another download that you need to put out this, I just did. And I worked, created the slides and things, and was terribly nervous about doing it, but I'm really glad I did. And I think that the momentum's starting again to put my knowledge, whatever, my gifts out there. So that's sort of how it all came about. But basically it was all in downloads of ideas, really.
Mm. Yeah, I think definitely you get these kind of, as you say, a download, and it just feels right. What comes into your head, that little whisper of some kind. And I think too, you're right about sort of, you need to take care of yourself, in the sense that, sometimes you just don't feel like doing what you would normally have been doing. I do some artistic things, and I've had work in a gallery, and for the last few months, I just haven't wanted to do any of it. It's like as if I need to create some space for other things to come in, and I don't know, learn new things or see things with different eyes or whatever it might be. But yes, you definitely need to make that space and time for yourself and just kind of go with it, and whatever's there, just go with it.
Absolutely. Well, another really big thing I learned was that we think we've got to keep going and doing and, you know, doing, but being, especially in a creative sense, being and just literally being, sitting, resting, being still, that's when the intuition and the downloads comes in. So the being time facilitates the doing time, and they work hand in hand. They're two sides of the same coin. Whereas I thought I had to keep creating, you know, being on the computer, looking busy, doing something every day. But when I did that, the internet wouldn't work. I couldn't type. Stuff would go wrong. But when I sat with it and let it flow, sparks flew and just stuff came. So you have to, and you've got to keep constantly. You've got to keep refueling who you are and refilling your cup, because you can't keep giving to everybody else. And even in a domestic sense, you don't owe anybody anything. Yes, if we have little kids, they can't look after themselves, but we as women, we're constantly, conditioned and told you have to just make sure everybody else is all right before you are. And that's just not the case, because you can't pour from an empty cup. If you haven't got it, you can't give it. So we need to reframe that in that, we absolutely are worthy, and I'm going to fix this up first. And then it's like that when you get on a plane, if we'll ever do that again, you put your oxygen mask on first before you can help anybody else, because if you're dead, you can't help anybody. So that's sort of the analogy of what I'm trying to do with my women's empowerment, is fill your cup, put your oxygen mask on first, do what lights you up, and then you've got more to give. You give people the overflow, not drain yourself and they have what you've got and you collapse in a heap on the floor. It's not okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Jody, did you want to say something? No. Okay, well, if no one else has got any more questions, we'll perhaps wrap it up, and I'll figure out how I can share the replay, because it's going to be pretty big, so I have to get my tech brain out again. But I will pop the replay, the recording somewhere, so if you want to watch it again, you can. And then I'll put a link to it or something in Hoodies Helpers, or the other, if you came through the other messenger thing. But someone's. Oh, did you want to say something, Jody?
Sorry, I didn't realise I'd put myself back onto mute.
That's all right. Were you talking madly to yourself then, were you?
I was talking away to myself.
Yes, well.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Fine. Go for it.
No, I just wanted to say that I joined late. I sort of came in late, but I joined basically at exactly the time that I needed to hear what you were saying, which was...
What a surprise.
I know, it's been happening so much lately, things happening, but just about the opinions of other people, they don't matter. And I've basically lost all of my friends, like of about 30 years. Most of them I've been friends with.
Yeah.
So my entire friendship group are on the other side. Yeah. But in saying that, in this time, we meet the most amazing people that we never would have met before.
Absolutely.
And connect with these amazing people. And it's just, it's brilliant. I had a breakdown about 4 months ago, but even in that, there's a positive, because on the other side of that, I've had this spiritual awakening, and it's just amazing. And I just don't feel like at the moment I'd really take any of this horrible stuff that's happening, because too much good has come out of it. That's the way I'm sort of, the community and the unity and everything between people of like-mindedness is amazing. I think it's really beautiful and horrible at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. And we've gone from how I see it is we've gone from karmic relationships, of karmic friendships and things, to soul relationships.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes, that's how I feel.
And it's not to say that the karmic ones, won't be in our periphery or around, but they've sort of served their purpose. And I, like you, I've met, and you won't be surprised to know that they've been within a few kilometres of my house this whole time.
Wow.
But I've only just met them, and
yes.
And I know that this is our soul tribe, and this is the people that we create part of me call the new earth with. This is, like all in the Hoodies Helpers or all the other support groups, people are creating food banks, vegetable swaps, homeschooling, and the out of work nurses and people that's creating their own workforce to help outside the what we traditionally know. And it's
I feel like it's back to grassroots community that we haven't had for so long. I don't think we've ever had it in our lifetime.
No, it's beautiful. It is
really,
really,
it is. It really is. And like I said, it's so hard to look at it and go, oh, I'm glad it happened. But in a way, I really am sort of glad that it's happened. And we're all stepping into our truth. And it's like losing my old friends who mean so much to me, but it's like shedding a skin and stepping into who I really am, if that makes any sense. And
absolutely.
It's brilliant. So thank you, because some of the stuff that I actually screenshotted some of your stuff, because it's probably stuff that I can't verbalize myself.
Use
and
it.
It's amazing. It made me, I actually had a little bit of a cry at one stage. It just made me feel so good. I was like, thank you so much. You've just no, thank you so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm glad, like I said, I had, oh, sorry, Carla, do you want to say something?
That's right. Fire applicator.
I had doubts, I said to my husband, I was so nervous, and he said, you'll be fine. And, we all have those doubts, but you just have to do what you know is right. I knew that this was the right thing because it came to me intuitively. I have to act on. The one time I didn't act on my intuition, it cost us a lot of money, an absolute huge amount of money. And so I know now that particular bit of intuition, if they'd had a stick, they would have been hitting me in the head with it, and I still ignored it. So I listen to my intuition now, and I feel it in my body. You can feel it in every fibre of your being.
I feel it. I know I've lost so much and I've sacrificed so much, but I can't not. That's how I feel. I'm like, I just can't not do it. I can't not feel the way I feel.
Exactly. That's the thing. I did have in one of the earlier slides, I said, that's a hill I die on. And then I thought, I don't want to be writing, but that's exactly right. I cannot go against my gut anymore. I just can't.
And the people that I've said to, that I've said the same thing. This is the hill that I've chosen to die on. And I think it makes people think that I'm more insane. But I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, you do know what you're talking about. And that's the thing that I actually wrote a letter to one day when I was having a real downer to my family. We've got a family group chat called Fab Fam, and I said, I feel like the family nut job. I'm not doing these things. I'm not complying just for funsies. This is not fun. And I reckon at the moment it'd be easier to come out as gay than that I believe. But and not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just become the focus to pick on people. And I feel like the family nut job. I've always been the black sheep, but I I feel really, really alien. I've got two sisters and I adore them, but I don't feel a connection with them anymore.
That's what's lost, the connection.
Yeah, I don't like it. I really don't. I used, I find there's a huge grieving process. There's a huge grieving for the life. Like literally, the world we knew is never coming back.
And that was my breakdown.
But it'll come back better.
Yeah, it was that veil, that lifting, and people have said that that is a hard moment to see and to come back from. And but I don't connect with the people, and I still love them with my whole heart. But my best friend, who I've been friends with since prep, so 45 years, and she actually said to me about 3 days ago, what's happened to you? So, and I thought, I'm still here. I'm just a better version as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's like, and my favourite saying at the moment is just so be it. That's so be it.
Yep.
I'm not angry. I'm not upset. Just so be it. If I've lost them, I've lost them. And I'll just, find my other tribe.
Exactly. And that's where, where we come together. And, as we're seeing, it is truly beautiful how people are helping each other. And it's very intense, especially when the family, from my recent experience, it's hard to connect with people now. And it absolutely is. If they're not on your page, it's really hard. Like, the friends that I lost recently, and I don't think they know that we're not friends anymore, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't get past what happened, and that's my issue I've got to work on. But I do understand that they're scared, and at some level, if they do in the future come to me and go, holy shit, I didn't realize, I'm going to open my arms and my home to them, and they know where I live, they know my phone number. I will not reject them. And again, with that saying, forgive them for they know not what they do, because they don't know. And we can't, we don't have to like it, but we can't judge them for it, because as hard as it is, because they truly don't. They truly think
don't know
that they are doing the right thing, and they are doing the right thing for them. But
for them,
they're inflicting, they're projecting their fear onto everybody else, and that is not okay. That's not okay. That's, and like me, I can't go places now because of my stance, which I'm more than happy. But I don't think it's okay to do that to people. We are all one. Whether people realise it or not, we are all one. We're all human. We all bleed. We all cry. It's not okay to be doing what is currently happening. And however you feel about things, it's just not okay to create this hierarchy of people. It's just not. And I think I will open my arms to them if they want to come to me in the future. But at the moment, I truly don't want to be around them.
No, and that's how I feel. I've even said to one of my friends, because we've been to a few protests in Melbourne, which they are the most beautiful places to be. They're so all-encompassing and loving, and I don't know, it's like you step into a light when you step into the group of people. But I'd said to people that I never went to the really scary ones, but the way I feel is, if I had been at the scary ones and one of the police had shot rubber bullets at me, but then down the line you see them and they say, I can't believe that I didn't understand what was going on, and then they've stepped onto this side, I'd go, oh my God, I'm so happy. Like, welcome, join us. There'd be no hard feelings because they didn't know, but as long as now they do, well, then you're like, brilliant. You've understand that nothing is fair or right at the moment. And that everyone thinks it's about the vaccine and the COVID, and it's become so much more than that. It's segregation and discrimination, and that's the fight now, I think, and people don't understand. I know my friends think I sit at home talking about COVID and vaccines all the time. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I'm learning common law and all these things I never thought that I'd be interested in or learn, and it's amazing, like the way your brain just opens up to, I don't know, new possibilities, I think it is.
Yeah.